Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Art Ecosystem number 5. And today is going to be a corker because we've so far spoken about, the kind of the concept behind it and how, the opportunity is now, and it wasn't even available a year ago, probably even 6 months ago. But this is about how to make it real. How to actually make it happen. How to actually make it happen. So let me just double confirm that I'm going out, because that always makes me happy. Behind it, and how, and it is. So I think I'm going out. So that's fantastic. So, as I say, this is about how to make it real. Let's do it. So let's just resize that so that you can see it all. Otherwise, you can't see it all, and then that's no good. Right, let me just do that. Okay, so I'm going to try not to, overload you, but this is incredible. So hold on to your chairs. So far, we've talked about the revolution in the music industry and all arts industries because of tech. We've talked about how tech and society are now kind of working hand in hand. We've talked about how to stand above the crowd and not be a commodity, which is very important. These are all in the back issues, which are in the paid vault. If you didn't catch them live, you can get all of the back episodes, past, present, and future, in the vault, which is at clickjustclick.com /BuickShow. That's right. Yes, sorry, I had to remember that. And if you put in the coupon BuickShow, then you'll get a massive discount. And not only that, you'll get what's the word I'm looking for? Exclusive access to the no-fail marketing plan, which is not available anywhere else. So all in all, I think it's a great deal. Clickjustclick.com /BuickShow. Put in the coupon BuickShow. Anyway, that's in the back issues. I showed you the figures last week. I showed you how to actually transform this from a hobby or a crusade, or whatever you were doing, into a business, to actually turn your music into a business. I've told you about the opportunities that are waiting for you right now, which weren't available a year ago, probably weren't even available 6 months ago. This is hot, this fresh, okay? And basically we've hinted about how we were going to crush it. To be in the top 100, to be in their top 100, and we explained what the concept of there meant. Again, in the vault, in the back issues. So tonight, as I said, sorry, how big was that? 36. 30. This is going to be about now how to make it real. Why is that so different to that then? Okay, don't know. It's allegedly the same size. I'm making it real. So sorry, let me stop flapping about. So, last week we said about the 3 requisites. That you have to be good enough. If you're not talented, I can't help you. But we put that into context, what that meant, and it meant that you had to be good enough for 700 people to really like you. That's what it means. It doesn't matter if I like you. It doesn't matter if a music journalist likes you. It's just if you can find 700 people who like you, if they think that you're good enough for them. That's all it is. Obviously, or naturally, if you are super talented and people just tend to love you, that will make it easier. We spoke about how this was a scalable business. How we could go, from basically £6 a day. Okay, you could do it for less, but I think that you're rich and that you can afford $6 a day. I do. Certainly to create, a 6-7 figure business, I think that's worth investing $6 a day in it. And because it's a 6-7 figure business, you actually have to do the work. Okay, there is work involved in this. It's not magic. It's not instant. It's not that people will just throw money at you. You actually have to do the work, and the work is what we're talking about now. Okay, it's not really work. It's still art, but you have to do it. So, as I say, we spoke about the whole kind of, transition that's happening and the revolution, where we are today. So, that's unfortunate. One short. Let's see if we can bump that up. Okay. So there are basically 3 things that we need to talk about now. We won't be able to do them all today. But these are the next 3 things that we need to do. So we need to talk about what it is that makes this possible, which in one word, which I'm going to explain in a minute, is the adventure. I'm going to explain that in a minute. The next thing that needs to be in place is the infrastructure, which, if you like, is the wheels of your business machine. Okay, how we actually take money off of the fans, that kind of thing. That's what I mean by infrastructure. And then finally, your assets, because there has to be some art in this at some point. That's why we're doing it. It's what it's about. So, surprise, surprise, you're actually going to need some, in the case of music, you're going to need some music. And also, I'm going to introduce you to the concepts of repurposing your music, in other words, creating it into different formats for different modalities and that kind of stuff. But that's just it's basically easy. It just means that if you created art once, that you can reuse it. So you might have if you're observant, you might have noticed the figure 99 in there, and you might be thinking, holy crap, I can't do 99 songs. And no, maybe you can't. But if each song has got 10 versions of it, then you only need 10 songs. So that's kind of the way it works. We're not going to do 10 versions of a song. I'm just doing that to make the maths easy. But let's say that there are 3 versions of each song, probably 5 actually. You'll see why that happens, how it can happen, as I explain this. But if it's 5 things, then you only need 20. Is it? Yeah, 20 songs. So that's not so bad, because remember, this is for the whole year. I'm not saying you need 20 on day 1. You need 1 on day 1. Okay, and then we're going to make the 5 versions of it, and then the next week maybe you do 1 or 2. But this is a bigger. This is a a bigger is a combination of 8-figure or 6-figure and business. But anyway, so a bigger or a 6-figure business, as it would be in English, is it's a big thing. A 6-figure business. Come on, it's a lot of money. It's almost 3 times more money than the average employee makes. Okay, and if the band is just you're getting all of that. So I think this is worth fighting for, to be honest. And as I say, it's not hard work, it's art, really, because that's what it's about. So let's get into the thing. So how do we make it real, and what do I mean by the adventure? So this is obviously going to be a little bit conceptual, but you're an artist, so it shouldn't be a problem for you. So in the old days, we would just make a song, and the song would be just a recording of it. I mean, in the old days we didn't used to do videos, did we? So it was just the music. But the music has always represented basically emotions. Okay, we went through this before, but in case you've forgotten. So music has always represented emotions. So all I'm saying is that what we are doing different today than we would 10 years ago is we are creating formats for the songs where the emotions are more at the forefront. And naturally, because of the way the world has gone, we can do this with video and imagery and even written words and even static art and moving art. All of these things are now part of it. And also, don't forget that emotions can come from interaction, with the audience, and UGC, which is user generated content from the audience as well. So, as we discussed last week, the audience can actually be a part of the content now, which is, as I said last week, is mind blowing. But that's what's happening. So, it depends how you want to, think about it, really, as to, how you want to, approach this. And there is no single version of this. Okay, you do, what your heart tells you to do, basically. So if you don't want to do a particular version, particular way, then don't do it. Do something else. Do the way that you want to do it. But I'm just going to talk about some of the ways that I'm going to do it, and you can decide which ones you do and don't want to do. From that. So, the first thing really is. Every song has a background story. Okay. Now the thing that I love about music is the fact that basically you can sing anything, and people will interpret their own, what it means to themselves. Okay, it's because it's not about you and the girl you loved. Called Jane. It's about, Jane is suddenly a metaphor for any girl, and in particular it's their girl that they were in love with. Okay, so it's really about them, and that's, I've always loved the fact about music is that people would just interpret it to their own lives, to their own needs, and take away from it whatever they need. And I still love that aspect of it. But in order to inspire people and to make sure that they get it, we can share the background story with it. But I think it's also important, in that, to include, to deliberately include, especially as now we've got such an interactive platform, is to include the user's story. So the background story isn't just yours; it's also the story of the audience as well. Okay, and that's basically easy to collect and to to bring into this kind of thing. Now the other thing, as an artist that you'll be should be very familiar with really, is that as well as the song, which is if you like is literal, we have symbolism. Okay, and symbolism can be in buckets of forms. Okay, someone's going to get into an art debate now. But basically, all I'm saying is that these emotions. Okay, because this is all about emotions, right? That's forget that they're songs. They're emotions. Okay, that's what we're trading in now. That's what we're selling. Really, is we're trading the emotions, the user's emotions, not even our emotions. So it's as I say, it's what they want to feel, what they want to take away. Anyway, but so we can symbolise the emotions in pictures. We can do it in words. So it could be in poems. It could be in any other art form that you want. And what else could it be? Not sure exactly what it is, but anything else that creates the mood involved in the background story. Okay, and the pictures could be still, or moving. So, in other words, video. But video, as well, can be real, or it can be, animated, for instance. Okay, which is very important, to me, because I don't have a Hollywood film crew. So most of my artistic freedom is going to come from the fact that I can digitally manipulate images, basically. So that's why it's exciting for me. But everything, as I say, the background story, may come from mine, or I may just present it in what it could mean to other people, and I can take in other people's actual, their own interpretation of it, and actually use that UGC, that user generated content, into this same thing, because their interaction, to be honest, is almost as important to my art, in this context, as my own art. Okay, so I'm very keen to get the user interaction into it, and it also helps me to create content, to propel it, as part of the ecosystem, to bring it to life. Okay, because that's what we're doing. We're bringing songs to life by involving the audience into it, because we've got this much greater element of control and interaction and unlimited reach that we have now, that we didn't have 6 months ago. Okay, that the technology has changed this so much now, and it's going to not stop. I don't think it's going to go at an alarming rate, probably. And we don't have to be the latest, whatever. We just need to, be a front, ahead enough of the curve. But bottom line, forget all the technology, hoopla, and it's not hard, so don't be worried about the tech. It's all drag and drop now. Everything's all pre-configured. Everything has templates. Nothing is from scratch. You don't have to code or invent or configure anything. You just have to turn it on. Okay. But what we're talking about, at the end of the day, is that we used to just trade in songs. Now we trade in emotions, and those emotions are also symbolized by pictures, both still and moving, real and animated, and whatever else. And words, which could be actual stories or poems or books or lyric sheets or whatever you want, or any other art form or mood generating thing that comes along. Okay, it doesn't really matter about the specifics, just anything that you can use to create the art form and to create a mood about your story. So how do we get into this? Oh yeah, so what the adventure is. So so that's part one. That's the base. Okay. Now the other thing that makes it an adventure, okay, and this has always been true, and we've always done it. Okay, so it's not really that we're having to do something new. It's just that now we actually have a platform to actually get it out there, and to kind of formalize and legitimize what we do. But we've always done this. It used to be like just the simple introduction of the song before you play it, or something you say in an interview, TV or radio interview. We've always done things. We've always given away other insights behind the music, and this is all we're really talking about now. It's just that I'm going to formalize it because of the technology that's available now to actually help us to broadcast it, to get it out there, to share it. Okay, so now we can share the adventure to much greater depths. Okay, I'm going to put that in because that's quite arty. I quite like that. So, because I'm an artist. So so all we're talking about is that we can now share the emotions with greater reach and depth because of the technology, the platforms that are now available to us. Okay, and this will all become more apparent, as we go along. I can't promise you'll get it today, but as we go along, you'll get it. So, that's the job. So the question is, if you think about an adventure, or even a story, even a song, really, to be honest, a song, has a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? So let's call that, let's just call that the path for a minute. Okay, so by that all I mean is it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay, that's all I really mean. It might be more steps than that, but that's basically all we're talking about. And the thing is that even in a song, we have verses and choruses and middle eights and transposition sections and whatever, and again that's another way of creating this path. But if you think about the path, you're at one point and you get to another point, and because we're artists, the path is emotions. Okay, so we take them through a series of emotions, because that's what we do. We're artists. That's what art really is about. It's about inspiring emotions in people. Even a picture is about inspiring people to think and feel a particular way. Okay, so it's a series of emotions. All right, that's all we're saying. Okay, and if I'm not saying that that you're becoming a game developer, but I'm just going to use games as a as a metaphor of what we're talking about. And if you think about a game, okay, again it's a path. It's from where you are to where you want to be. There's an objective of the game, and you're playing it because of emotions. You want the excitement or the relief or the heroism or the sense of discovery or the sense of achievement or whatever in a game. Okay, so I'm not saying you necessarily have to make games. Obviously a game would be another great way of putting it out there, but you don't have to do games if you don't want to. But the adventure is a kind of a game. So the question is what is the most simple game that we can play with emotions, with the audience? And this isn't by any means the only version, but it's a version. Let's make that a bit smaller. And as we've already discussed, there's your history or background of the song, and as I said, certainly for me it's very important what their history is and what they're interpreting it as, as. And also generally, naturally, we're experiencing this as a song. Okay, but that might be a production. Okay, but obviously, obviously, before the production came other stuff. See where the adventure's coming from now. So originally it came from an idea and the demo, and then there would have been options. So simplistically putting it, there would have been some kind of songwriter's version. So piano, guitar, singing kind of version. Then there might have been, I'm going to sneeze a minute, hang on. Crazy sneezing going on. Okay. Then there might have been other versions which were unplugged. Maybe we went through different styles or arrangements. And maybe we had different flavours when we had different musicians on it. Or collaborations, let's call it that, but I basically mean musicians. And then maybe in the studio there were multiple remixes and versions and productions of and production options of that. And even a simple version of that might be what what backing, what drum beats that you use in it. Okay, because that can, as you're a musician, that can completely transform the thing, going from a finger snap triangle to a full-on heavy metal drum kit. Is going to completely change the the whole essence of the of the thing. It's not it's not just a simple production step. It can completely transform what's going on. Anyway, even in that, even in the process of creating the song that you've created, okay, you went through all of these versions, and there's all these sub versions in there as well. Where which I'm going to call unmix actually. All the breakdowns and all that. Okay. And combinations which you don't normally hear, and that kind of thing. And there's usually some beautiful stuff going on in there. That's actually too much for this slide, isn't it? Let's just not do that. That's just, hang on, finger trouble. How can I have finger trouble with slides? That's crazy. Anyway, right, there we go. Let's just get rid of that and do that. Right. So I won't lay it out, but just give it a little bit more room. So there's all this stuff. And there might be extended mixes. See if I can spell it right. And there might be stems of it, which is this multi-track DJ format, where people can remix the song, or DJs can remix the song for you. Okay, DJ remixes, and all of that kind of stuff. Just make those all fractionally bigger. Okay, so even in the song you've already got, it went through a load of stages, and what I'm saying to you is that those stages are actually part of the adventure. They're part of the adventure of that song. Okay, but now something else is going to happen, because all of these things, they can all have they can all be represented like we said a minute ago, in different forms. So images and video and all that stuff we mentioned before. So every one of these can have an image, a graphic, a video, an interview, a podcast, to go with it. Even an illustration or a cartoon or anything like that. And you can even take the the characters out of the song, and this is certainly what I'm going to do, and turn them into actors. And as I said, in my case, I haven't got a Hollywood film studio on me, so I'm going to use animations, because animations, like music, I can create and control digitally. In exactly the same way I can control music, I can do the same with characters and animation and movements and sound effects and explosions and movements, dancing. There's packages now that that you can completely basically puppet people. Okay, and some of them even do it with webcam. With webcam, puppets. So you can nod your head in front of the webcam, and then your puppet will do the same. So you don't even have to actually animate things anymore. You can just physically move, yourself, and these things will move for you. So I mean, this is the kind of thing that's revolutionising what's going on. In the old days, you needed Pixar or Disney or somebody to even remotely do you an animated cartoon or an animated 3D puppet or whatever you want to do, and now you can literally sit in front of a webcam and smile and wave your hands, and and you can be a lion or a gorilla or a space monster or anything you want, or a mermaid, doing that instead. And that's the transformation that we can actually do with the art. We've talked about the transformation of technology with the audience. Now we're talking about the transformation of the art with technology. Okay, so text even transforming the art. Okay, but anyway, the point is, before I go down a rabbit hole here, is that we can create this adventure. Even with what we've already done. But all I'm saying is it is pretty damn easy to then transform it with all these other art forms like static images and puppetry and all that kind of stuff, or video collages, or sculpting a potato in time-lapse photography. I mean, you can do anything that you want now. So and if you can't do it, you can freelance it, outsource it, get companies to do it for you. Because again, this is a business. There's money coming in. It doesn't matter if some money has to go out in order to do this. Again, it's an ecosystem. So if you need something done, you can pay for it because it's going to generate money in order, which will pay for it. And that's the liberation of your art once it becomes a business. Okay. Anyway, so simplistically, you can think of this as getting someone to make you videos, or going to the studio and getting remixes done, or going to a remixer or a producer and getting them to remix or reproduce your thing. But we're just talking about versions of the same thing. But nonetheless, this evolution of what we have made. Starting to create the adventure. Okay, then we just really need to plug in, and we'll probably we'll end it there because I've been going on for ages. Then we basically just need to plug in the audience, to be honest. But again, because of technology, we can get the audience to interact, not just react, but interact with our art and our adventure. And and as I say, they become part of the art and the adventure. And it can be that each user experiences something else. Okay, they can experience their own version. They can make their own video, be in their own video. All that kind of stuff. Like the stems are working for DJs with audio. There is or there will be video stems, or VJ programs, as we call it, where they can actually be in, visually be in, and audibly, but visually and audio, be in their version of the song video. Okay, and that could be shared, voted by the community, included in the compilations, all of that, and special audience, halls of fame, and all that kind of stuff. So obviously I'm borrowing from game metaphors here, because I actually also do game development, and game development is just another art to me, like music. So I see a very strong correlation between music and games, in the same way that most people probably stop at video. I go to games, but we have basically music, still pictures, which was album art and all that other stuff. And video is the one that everybody is the most popular, but I don't see why it doesn't transcend to games, and even installations, and certainly what I would call experiences. Okay, now if you can give somebody an experience of your song, okay, and that comes in so many forms, but it could just be a listening experience, or control experience of it, or something that they mix themselves visually. Okay, I know this is all a bit in the air kind of thing, but this is all so here now. It really is here today. But if you can give your audience an experience of your song, which is personal. Now, if you go back to what we said, in show 1 or 2 or something, the technology is causing this revolution, because it used to be you'd go to a show, a concert, and there'd be 1,000 people, and you'd be 80 foot back, and you're part of the vibe of the crowd, but you can't really see anything, and you've got some other dude's head in your way, and now with the technology, this is like being in the room with the performer, aka you and me. But then if we can make it personal, if through technology we can actually customize each experience, each playback of the song for the members of the audience, then this is highly valuable stuff, because it's a unique experience. Okay, oops, there. That was strange. Okay, anyway, a unique personal experience. Okay, and if that sounds too far out for you, then just bear with me, because this technology is here. It's here. What am I trying to say? It's here now, and it's very easy to use. Everything's what you see is what you get. Everything's point and click. All the metaphors that about music and sequencing and recording and effects and arranging and all that kind of stuff, and breaking things down and up, and all that. It's all the same in all of the mediums, so there's nothing to stop you doing all of that visually. And if you wanted to go the game route, in game kind of stuff and real-time puppets, and as I said, we've got all this webcam puppet stuff now, so you can actually visualize your emotions, your song, pretty much any way you like, for almost no money. Most of the time it's actually even free, and create all this this new adventure for your audience. And as I say, this is no longer a song anymore. This is really turning, I'll just add that one in. It's really just turning, songs, about emotions, and then these emotions are now becoming, experiences. Songs, there we are. In whatever guise that they're in, but it's here right now, and it makes what you're doing, far more, of a sellable business. Sorry, that was the bit I'd forgotten. Lifestyle. Okay, so it basically, the songs have now become lifestyles because they're about emotions, and we can portray those in, exciting new mediums. Yeah, that's basically it. Right, so I've gone on, a long time. I haven't really managed to explain much to you at all, unfortunately. And we've only kind of touched on one of the three things that we needed to. But as kind of arty-farty as what I just described was, this is actually reality. Okay, because the reality is that you've already got the song, and normally we only worried about the studio version of it. But now just like in filmmaking, the audience are actually fascinated with the process. And we can share that process with them to make an adventure. And we can then also add in other emotional clues and formats and all this other kind of stuff to make it, to also make it, what do I want to say there? New experiences in another medium. Okay? And once all this is going on, already I've got whatever that is, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 12 versions out of one there immediately, just in audio. Okay, so I've got 12 audio versions right there, and although these audio versions may not be sellable, most of them are, but even if they're not all sellable standalone, they're very sellable as part of the kind of the backstage process of how your art is created. Okay, because that's fascinating, and that's an experience and another version of the art in itself. To be honest, when people learn to play your songs from the guitar chords or sing the songs from lyrics, that's exactly what they're doing. They're experiencing what it's like to sing this hit song, from lyrics and tab. So we're just extending that, or technology is extending that, beyond lyrics and tabs, into other things. But anyway, but we've instantly got 12 versions, of audio version of it right there. And then if we go into the visual and video and game kind of an installation and static pictures and art and cartoons and illustrations and illustrations of who the characters are, if you think of manga, anime kind of stuff, pictorially, they tell absolutely beautiful stories in still pictures. Just because there's so much that goes into that kind of art. And they are, hand in hand, part of the emotion of the song. Okay. Anyway, I've gone off a bit down a rabbit hole there, and you're probably freaking out. But what I'm saying to you is that, even with one song, there's probably at least 12 versions in there. There are other versions, there are other videos, there are other mixes, there are other breakdowns, there are other, producer versions and remix versions and DJ versions and stems, and you already know that there's a lot of versions of your songs that can be there, And the beauty of this is, even though, as I say, that they're not necessarily sellable on their own, as part of the backstage process, backstage pass kind of thing, they're super valuable to the fans. And once something is super valuable to the fans, then it helps us to, create a business, with them, and to increase the cost of our art. And also, when they're enjoying all these things in multiple formats and versions, and whatever you want to describe them as, something else is also happening, which is brilliant. And hopefully you can guess what that is, but I'm going to tell you. It makes us top of mind, which is the number one thing as artists that that we're looking for. Because when we're top of mind, it means that they're thinking about us and not our rivals, which means that we're not commodity. So all this extra stuff that we're sharing with them makes us not a commodity. It makes us higher up on their personal playlist, because we're the guys giving them all this other experiences, and the other guys aren't even remotely thinking about this. They're still trying to think, how do they get more free plays. I should put the accent on free, sorry. More free plays on Spotify with their one studio mix. That's what they're thinking. And we're not. We're thinking all of this. So hopefully you're starting to see how it's starting to change from being just a song to being a lifestyle. And that's really what I think fans have always wanted. They've always wanted to live vicariously through their celebrities. They've always wanted to the escapism of another life, of the storytelling of the artist. They've always wanted that, and now we're letting them reach into that in deeper and more more ways, and so we get more reach, and we can go into more depth with all of this. So next time we're going to talk about this is the start of the of the content of the assets. This is how we get 99 things out in a year. When you were thinking you only had one song or something, then we're going to put it into the infrastructure, and then we're going to make sure we cement the adventure in this. But the other thing that's beautiful about this is that the audience plays a big part in this process. So the fans are making it what it is, and again, that's brilliant, because if they're for want of a better word, if they're collaborating with us in their own personal versions, then guess what? Where's it gone? There it is. That makes us top of mind. And as an artist and everything, that is the biggest thing that we could hope to achieve, really. Is to become top of mind, because it just separates us from all the competition. It does what we aim to do at the very beginning, which is to become in the top 100 of their personal playlist. The only thing we still haven't really defined is who they are, but we're coming to that. But this all puts us at the top, in the top 100 of their personal playlist. And nobody can do this for us, so we have to do this ourselves, and that's why it separates us so far above the mainstream and the status quo, and we can do this really cheaply, almost free usually, and we're in control, which obviously is hard as we like. And it really connects our art with the audience, which is as artists is I think what we've always wanted, and as I say, I think it's what the audience have always wanted, to have their art more as a lifestyle experience, and not just a 3-minute radio play. It wants to mean more than that, and to be experienced more than that, and to be experienced deeper than that. And all the time this is happening, they're sharing it with their close circle, and that's something for their close circle to enjoy. But again, it's also more exposure for us, for their friends and family to enjoy it as well. And there we go. So it's a bit more ethereal than I wanted, but I think you can see how it's starting to come together. So as I say, we're doing we're looking at the assets first. So you've got this content. You're not having to write more songs. We're just going to repurpose stuff so that you have more assets in your artist toolkit. So that's it. See you next time. See you next Thursday for the next incredible edition of the Art Ecosystem. See you then. Bye bye for now. Bye bye. Bye bye.